If I was a fan there, I would have asked for my money back.
Nashville, Tennessee, the first Misfits card of the year here in the U.S. The most shambolic, most weirdest Misfits event I've ever seen. People were tweeting out saying, oh, they're making all of us come out because of a bomb threat. And I see the referee telling the corners, like, hey, we need to leave.
We got to go.
Bryce Hall, Tayler Holder, who wins that fight?
As of what I saw, I'm going to go with Bryce.
He didn't have a full camp. Yeah, I'll cut him some slack for this performance. But I still think Bryce Hall would beat him.
Literally 5 minutes before they were supposed to walk out, Most Wanted pulled out. Evil Hero being, the man he is. The hero, essentially. He's like, I'm going to take one for the team. I'm going to save the main event. I'll go fight him 1v1.
Just like Evil Hero saving the main event, Fundora is coming in and save the whole show. And
Fundora is no pushover. 6'6" guy that comes to fight. Very unique style, and it's hard to beat him. This is a better test than Thurman.
We also have the co-main event, Romero as he takes on Lil Cruz.
If I were to put money, I would probably choose Rolly.
Welcome back, guys, to another episode of the Last Round Podcast, where we cover anything from traditional boxing to influencer boxing and everything in between. In today's episode, we'll be talking about this influencer's boxing, Misfit 13, as it was probably the most chaotic, most shambolic influencer event from Misfits I've seen so far. We'll also be talking about next week's PBC/Prime Video card between Fundora as he takes on Tszyu. But before we dive into the episode, make sure you guys like and subscribe. Don't forget to comment down your thoughts and opinions about this podcast or about the episode in general. Lastly, don't forget to follow us on all our social media accounts. We are on X, Instagram, and TikTok. And lastly, don't forget to join us on Discord. Link is in the description down below. Now, diving into the episode, Misfits 13, Nashville, Tennessee, the first Misfits card of the year here in the U.S. And let's say this was easily, like I just mentioned right now, the most shambolic, most just out of the weirdest Misfits event I've ever seen. It was just all over the place, production-wise, But let's dive into the first fight of the main card. Joey Knight versus Baby Hulk. Now, we gave our predictions for this one, and I'm happy to say that we all got our predictions right, What are you guys' thoughts about that fight? Joey Knight versus Baby Hulk.
Yeah, this was my favorite night.
Your favorite night?
My favorite night. My favorite fight of the night. I think it was the most... it only lasted one round. Joey Knight came out and showed... What I've been saying, that he is one of the top guys at the 135 tournament. That tournament, I think he was my dark horse. I think he showed that he is taking this very seriously. He's going to be 30 years old. He's got that man strength. He's growing into his prime. So I think he's the most dangerous fighter right now in the lightweight tournament.
I don't know if I would go as far to say the most dangerous, but I think definitely
first round KO.
But I think when he dropped him, he kind of looked surprised too, because I didn't think he was expecting him to drop him. I think earlier in the week, in the press conferences and the interviews, he said that he was gonna mostly focus on boxing and stuff like that due to Baby Hulk's aggression and whatnot. And Baby Hulk said it himself. He says, "I'm a fighter. I'm not a boxer. I'm gonna go at you. I'm a come forward type of fighter." So yeah, within the first round, even before the knockdown, I feel like he kind of had him like figured out. I think he knew that Baby Hulk wasn't a match for him. He wasn't as strong as him. And yeah, I was genuinely surprised. Yeah, it took me off guard because I thought it was gonna go the whole 3 rounds that
five rounds
that they were fighting. So yeah,
yeah, I was not expecting a KO. Yeah, Joey Knight, this fight, last fight against Most Wanted when he debuted was a very great debut. He stunned it on Most Wanted. He stopped him. Whatever he wanted to do, he did in that fight. And it seemed like he did it again. Everything that he wanted to do against Baby Hulk, he was able to do, and he did it flawlessly. He was imposed his game, technique, the finesse, and then that knockout. He did a little feint. Caught Baby Hulk, try and come in, and then he hit him with a 2, and then looked like a 45, like a shovel. What's it called? A shovel.
A shovel
upper,
or something
shovel
like
upper.
that?
Yeah, something like that. He caught him clean. Yeah, 45. Yeah, he caught him clean. I thought Baby Hulk was out cold when he landed, because he landed hard. Yeah. And it was a good thing that the ref stopped it. Some people were saying it was a bit premature,
which I think is kind of crazy. Some people are talking about like that the fight shouldn't have been stopped. Guys, this is their first fight ever on Misfits. I mean, not for Joey Knight, but this is pretty much an amateur production. This isn't for a world title. The guy fell down super hard. He hit his head on the canvas. It was the right decision to stop the fight from the ref.
The fans were like, "We want that!" Because right away, I saw on Twitter that they were complaining about the premature stoppage. Because right away, once his head hit the canvas, the ref was like,
"Yeah,
he waved it off."
he didn't even start counting it. And then Baby Hulk as well. He was all like, "Isn't there an 8 count? There's no 8 count." I'm like, "Buddy, you got a concussion. This isn't for a world title." The ref saved him to live another day.
Yeah, because also while he was trying to get up, like he tried getting up, he was kind of on his elbows, and then he just kind of went back down or whatever. He fell down again. Yeah, so he wasn't.
And
he wasn't all right.
Even when he was, standing up, his arms were on the rope. He was leaning on the ropes.
Yeah.
I mean, he was not there.
He was trying so hard to act like he was fine.
Play it off.
He had to play it off. We could see he was unstable. The fight should have been stopped, and it was correctly stopped.
Yeah, correctly stopped. Joey Knight got that first round stoppage. Yeah, very impressive from Joey Knight. He's after seeing him fight that first time back earlier this year, I was genuinely surprised. But for this fight against Baby Hulk, I was like, Baby Hulk's gonna be more tougher. He's not gonna be scared. He's actually gonna impose more and cause more problems for Joey Knight. But Joey Knight took him out quicker than he took out Most Wanted. So that tells you a lot about where Joey Knight's level is at. It seems to be that when the harder the opponent, the tougher they are, the more that Joey Knight is able to show out. And I mean, he's calling out everyone, man. He's now in the semis. He has to wait for the winner of Lil CraCra and YuddyGang, to decide who is gonna fight next. And I mean, regardless of who he gets between those two, he has a good chance of going all the way to the final.
Yeah, absolutely. What I like most about it is the fact that he maintained his composure. I mean, Baby Hulk is one of those guys. I mean, he's just a ruthless aggression completely all the way. And for a lot of guys, especially starting out, that's scary. You know what I'm saying? The guy's just running at you. He's buff. He's running at you just like with throwing punches. Joey Knight didn't get scared. Joey Knight waited. He waited for Baby Hulk to punch himself out a little bit. He read some of his habits, and immediately Joey Knight started landing some hard punches and stopped the fight. So I think, I think one thing I think is his age, 30 years old. He's older than these guys, and I think he's just in that time of his life where like his physical strength is at the top, his mental strength is at the top. He definitely is a dark horse of this lightweight tournament.
Yeah, and I think also with this result, like I think it's gonna give him the confidence in the world because like he did it so easily, and I think even he was surprised about it. So I just think whoever he is matched up next time, I think he's gonna do a lot better. He's gonna feel a lot more comfortable. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. So Joey Knight, at the end of the night, he ended up getting KO of the night.
Yeah.
It's one of the only few KOs that happened in the night, though. But regardless, he got KO'd the night and performed really well and really cemented himself as one of the top dogs for this interim lightweight tournament. But moving on to the second fight of the night was the second fight for the lightweight interim tournament, which was Lil CraCra as he took on YuddyGang. And, leading up to this fight, I was like, oh, this fight's my favorite one. I kept saying it because I was genuinely excited for this matchup. And I was saying Lil CraCra was going to win. And, I mean, the first 2 rounds that the fight went on, I had Lil CraCra up 2-0. YuddyGang would start off well, but Lil CraCra midway through the round seemed to take over and ended up would end the round a lot stronger than YuddyGang, and I had Lil CraCra up 2-0 before the bomb threat was called in. Oh my dude, this pissed me off.
This is the first thing that went wrong with Misfits event this past Saturday.
The bomb threat, man. I was like, this is insane. I was just like, bro, you ruined the best fight of the night for me. I was so excited for this fight. So to get blue balled like that, I was like, come on, right? And it was like in between rounds, right? And I checked on X, and then people were saying, who were there at the event, were tweeting out saying, we're getting, they're making all of us come out because of a bomb threat. And I was like, no way, right? And I look up and I see the referee telling the corners like, hey, we need to leave.
We gotta go.
Yeah, I was like, dude, come on.
That's
man.
the craziest. I don't think I've ever seen anything like that. A boxing event stopped like midway because of a bomb threat. Mm-hmm. Like, who on earth would send a bomb threat to a Misfits boxing event?
I don't. It's got to be these youngins, bro.
Yeah, did I swear?
Youngins are.
I think it was probably like those swatting. You know, a lot of large streamers get swatted.
Yeah.
Because their fans, which are like some fucking 10-year-olds or 11-year-olds, call and say something crazy to the police, and the police come. I think maybe that, or I don't know if that's what happened, because it was a bomb threat.
Yeah. I had a theory. I thought since Neon was there in support of his friend, I was thinking that maybe someone on his stream called it. Yeah.
Or Aiden. People were saying because Aiden, he had a boxing event that same day. The only thing is that his boxing event ended earlier, right? So I mean, during the fight, when the fights were going on, his event was already ended, I believe. So people were saying that maybe could have been his fans, maybe not. But this whole bomb threat really ruined the whole motion of the fights. Of the event in general, and because after they came back, the fight got canceled. It got canceled. Yeah, it got no contest, postponed, no contest, which left a really sour taste in my mouth, because I was like, man, like I was like, Lil CraCra was winning the fight. I was like, I don't know how this is gonna affect them in the when they step inside the ring again. If YuddyGang's gonna make the right adjustments and whatnot. I mean, Lil CraCra could make the right adjustments too, but I thought it was stupid in my opinion.
Yeah, the fight was heating up too. I think it was a very high level fight. These guys are amateurs, like we were saying last episode. And YuddyGang, just like you said, he would start the rounds off very well in the first round and in the second round. The first minute and a half, he'd be controlling the fight with his jab, with his distance, being a longer fighter. And I think Lil CraCra's experience showed in the second half of the rounds, because then he would start picking it up, start putting some combinations together, and he'd land some pretty good shots on YuddyGang. So I think in both of those rounds, it started out a YuddyGang round, but then halfway through, Lil CraCra stole it, and I think that shows a lot of his experience and his amateur experience.
Seems like he was taking a little bit of a page from Manny Pacquiao, huh?
He's quick.
Yeah, combination fighter.
That's his best attribute, is that he's very explosive and he's very quick. He puts a lot of combinations, a lot of punches in a fast manner. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's what caught YuddyGang actually by surprise, because I feel like YuddyGang would have been moving a bit more, but he couldn't get those like left. Was it left? Because he's a southpaw, or is he?
He's
right, orthodox.
Right,
yeah. He couldn't get rid of those right hands. Like they were just landing on him. So
yeah. Well, I mean, it's because, like you said, Lil CraCra, just the experience that he brings, and he's fought high level of boxers, in the national. Do you
guys know how many fights he has?
No idea.
But
I mean, YuddyGang, he was game. His jab, quick jab. That first round, like the first minute of that first round, he was doing a good job keeping them off. Just a quick jab, down to the body. Hit him like 3 times to the body at one point, like back to back. So YuddyGang was doing well, but like we just mentioned, the second half of those rounds were leaning more towards Lil CraCra, and I do think that YuddyGang did benefit from the fact that the bomb threat was called, and he had a chance to make adjustments for the postponement.
Another thing I found interesting was the fact that Lil CraCra was actually, seemed he was a bit nervous.
I think he was.
Yeah, coming into the ring, and also the first minute of the first round, I think he was a bit nervous. He had some nerves, which is obviously normal. I mean, this is his boxing debut. He has a lot of pressure on him because people expect him to do really well because of his experience. But I think he started settling into the fight, and yeah, once he started putting those combinations together, he really got his rhythm, and it looked like the fight was gonna head into his direction.
Yeah. Maybe Most Wanted can take a page out of Lil CraCra's playbook and just man the fuck up.
For real, bro. Yeah. Actually, before even the bomb threat was called, I remember when YuddyGang was coming out, how they have the screen behind them? They had, instead of having, YuddyGang's face, in his name, they had Tayler Holder.
Oh my god. This whole production was all fucked. Yeah.
It was insane. I was like, yo, come on, guys. But so postponed. Hopefully the fight is put on the next Misfits card, because you can't really have them, go through another full camp doing this. I mean, maybe you could, but I'm sure they don't want that. They want to get the tournament rolling. So hopefully the fight is scheduled for the next event. But let's move on through the card. Next up, we had the return of Tayler Holder as he took on DWG Earth. Now, Tayler Holder took this fight supposedly in like 5 days' notice, a week's notice essentially. So he didn't have a full camp for this fight. And I feel like it kind of showed that he didn't have a full camp because he didn't look the best in there. I wasn't impressed at all. I was less impressed with his opponent, man. DWG Earth, that man, he gassed out in the snap of a finger.
Yeah, it seems so crazy. Like one frame he was fine, and then the next frame, out of nowhere, he was just like breathing from his mouth, exhausted.
It looked like he got the 4 days notice. Hey, do you want to fight?
Yeah, it looked like he was enjoying his life, and then they threw him in there.
Yeah, which is crazy because I was like, dude, this man Holder's coming in with no training. You had a full camp because you were supposed to fight someone else, and yet you're the one who's gassing out and going down to your knees and trying to catch a breather. Like, dude, come on, it's only the second round too. Like, dude, there's no way that you're just out of cardio already or out of stamina. But Tayler Holder came back. Very anticipated return from him. He has not fought since the Nissan Gibb loss that he took. And yeah, I think he got the stoppage. He got the win, especially in his hometown in Nashville. So I'm sure he was hyped, and I'm pretty sure he was even more hyped the fact that he was able to win without a full camp. Tayler Holder has been beefing with Bryce Hall recently, and people are claiming, oh, you can't beat Bryce Hall. Bryce Hall fought in bare knuckle and he won. And now that he won this fight, people are trying to see that fight even more. Even Bryce Hall, he said, oh, this is easy work. I'm sending the contract. Tayler Holder is down for a fight against Bryce Hall. This could be a potential fight on Misfits. If more on bare knuckles, but I doubt that Tayler Holder would do bare knuckles.
I don't believe he'd go into bare knuckle.
No. So this, if they do fight, it would be boxing for sure. Let's say Bryce Hall, Tayler Holder. Who wins that fight?
As of what I saw, I'm gonna go with Bryce. Actually, funny enough, yeah. I just don't think. Maybe if Tayler had a longer camp, maybe, but I'm just basing it off of his last two fights. And the first one, he just kind of looked like a boxer. He wasn't really throwing much, wasn't really active. But then this one, it was just kind of ugly. If it did look like he didn't have a full training camp or whatever. So he looks sluggish and whatnot. It looked like he was more of just brawling type thing.
I mean, Tayler Holder got the win. And that's the main thing that's important.
Okay.
He also got the TKO win. So you got to give him credit where credit's due, right? And another, he didn't have a full camp. Yeah, 4 or 5 days notice. Maybe he was training, but no dieting, no really locking in, no zoned in, no tunnel vision. So I'll cut him some slack for this performance. He definitely didn't look his best. But even then, I still think Bryce Hall would beat him. I think Bryce Hall. I just think he has more balls than him.
I do. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he just has that fighting spirit that you can't really learn or teach. Bryce Hall's kind of just born with that. Yeah.
Yeah, I do think so too. The thing is, I feel wouldn't it kind of depend on the weight too? I don't know what Bryce
are they?
I mean, I'm pretty sure Bryce is like 160 something, isn't he?
Yeah, I thought he fought at 165 in his bare knuckle match.
Is Holder bigger?
I think he's like 170. I swear.
Cut it in the middle.
Oh,
yeah, I was gonna say.
Then again, Holder didn't
work.
train. He didn't really have training.
Yeah.
Late replacement. So it'd be interesting. If I were to put money, you'd have to put money on Bryce, right? Because he has all the hype in the world, because of the whole bare knuckle thing. Like, no YouTuber or influencer is doing that type of thing.
And no one ever will.
No one.
No, bro, you gotta be crazy to be doing something like that. You don't need to be doing that. But yeah, so
supposedly doesn't Bryce is gonna fight again on the bare knuckle?
Supposedly,
he did say that next month.
That's what he said. Yeah.
Against Deji Olatunji.
Deji would never do that.
Deji would never.
We can't even get him in a boxing ring, let alone a fucking bare knuckle ring.
No, hell no. Yeah. But I do think I would put money on Bryce Hall to beat Tayler Holder if they were to fight. If that fight ever happens, I don't know. They always, all these influencers talk more than they actually fight. So we will see when the time comes. But yeah, Tayler Holder's anticipated return, got the dub, got the stoppage, and I'm pretty sure he's feeling good about himself. Took in a few days' notice. So let's see if he ever decides to come back. Actually have a full camp and fight again, because I'm pretty sure Misfits would want him back.
I think he would, because why else would he take a late replacement? You know what I'm saying?
He's
if you're gonna take a late late replacement, then I mean, I guess you want to fight again and
he did say
prove yourself.
I mean, he did say that at his post-fight like interview in the ring, but like I don't know. The announcer asked him, "Who do you want to fight? Or who do you want next?" And Tayler just kind of gave a generic answer. He didn't specifically say, "I want this, I want that."
I mean, that's what they all do.
Bryce was right there. He could have said something. Bryce has been saying stuff since this past week or whatever.
I think he could have said something. Come back.
Hopefully he does, because I think he'd be a great addition.
Yeah,
he'd be different for sure.
It'd be different. Yeah. A new name.
Mm-hmm.
A bigger name, because remember when Holder was gonna make his debut against Give?
He had so much hype,
and the hype around that man.
Bro, they were saying
training with Ryan Garcia.
They were saying he was training with Ryan Garcia. They were saying that he was the best influencer boxer, his skills, his fundamentals, and then he got his ass kicked.
Yeah, and people were saying to Give, they were like, "Oh, you're gonna get knocked out, man!" Like, because he's coming off that Jake Paul embarrassing KO loss. So. Yeah, Gabe. People were shitting on Gabe. People were praising Tayler Holder, and then the fight happened, and he got absolutely shut out. All 5 rounds, he got shut out.
And then after getting shut out, then he switched genres and became a country singer.
Yeah,
so that we didn't even know about it.
I don't know. Yeah, hopefully he does come back.
Yeah.
But so yeah, that was Tayler Holder's return to the ring. And let's move forward to the co-main event. I don't really want to talk too much about this fight. Chris Avila. Versus Jake Bostwick. I mean, it was. I don't really know. I'm surprised this was even
Chris.
You don't like Chris?
Yeah, I don't really like Chris. He doesn't have no charisma. He doesn't really know how to sell. Like, he's supposed to, I guess, apparently fight on the next Misfits card. I think it's in June. He was like, "Yeah, come watch me. I'll be there."
No, it's on the Nate Diaz against
George Masvidal.
Oh,
it's not Misfits. Yeah, it's on that one supposedly. His next fight. But
well, I mean, he dissed Misfits.
He did.
Literally, like, it was so funny. He got the mic, started talking to him, and he was like, "Yeah, I mean, I don't really fuck with Misfits. I mean, I think their production is shit." I was like, "Damn,
goofy."
Yeah, I did that. I ain't gonna lie, he had some balls there, but yeah.
He brings in that that type of Nate Diaz type of vibe. I mean, he is a Stockton boy, isn't he?
Oh, is he?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, yeah.
So he actually, I think they mentioned it. The announcers that he was Nate Diaz's sparring partner when Diaz was preparing for Jake Paul.
Oh, okay.
So so he does have some affiliation with
the Diaz.
With the Diaz. I'm pretty sure they're boys. But yeah, I mean, yeah, like you said, I don't think he doesn't bring a lot of. He's not very charismatic. He doesn't really know how to sell himself, which it's very hard for me to watch him. Even though he has beaten some big names, like I mean, he just beat Jake Bostwick, who was a former, I think, MMA fighter, but he also beat Anthony Taylor before. So he had beaten some names in the influencer scene that are considered, pretty big names or top guys. But for me, I'm not really just watching him fight. He's got skills, he does his thing, he gets the win, but I'm not really too eager to see him fight. Honestly, not a big fan of him.
Yeah, they're not that action packed. It's like. You're not gonna see a person be like, "Hey, let's tune into the Chris Avila fight," So it's kind of one of those things where you kind of respect him because he's getting the wins, but you're not a big fan of him because you're not sold on him.
Yeah, there's nothing that stands out. He doesn't have power. He doesn't have beautiful boxing skills, or he doesn't rarely gets hit or whatever. He doesn't really have that. He just kind of goes and kind of gets the win, however it is.
Nah, I mean, he does have some skills. I mean, he's done well to get the wins. You gotta have something to be on this streak of wins. But like I said, I'm not sold on his character, on the persona that he brings. So I'm not really. I was surprised this was even the co-main event. Yeah. So that was a little touch about that. I don't really want to go too deep about Chris Avila. But now let's go on to the very anticipated outnumbered match.
Was it really that anticipated?
Shut up. Yeah. Shut up. Anyway, 2v1. Fox the G was going to take on Evil Hero and Most Wanted. Or that's what it was supposed to be until literally 5 minutes before they were supposed to walk out. Most Wanted pulled out. He pulled out. Everyone was all like, "Yo, why'd you pull out?" Right? Evil Hero being, the man he is. The hero, essentially. He's like, I'm going to take one for the team. I'm going to save the main event. I'll go fight him 1v1. He goes in and then he quits.
Actually, he got hit behind the head.
I mean, he did. Yeah, you can make the argument he did. But, I mean, you could have stood up. I mean, I personally didn't think it was that big of a hit behind the head. I think he was just trying to find a way out. Because he kept on complaining about it, whatever. But yeah, I don't know. This main event was shambolic. It was I don't know. It was just all over the place for me, and I thought that Most Wanted pulling out of the fight was very cowardly.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was just the final nail in the coffin.
Yeah,
like the production up until this point was not the best. There's a lot of stuff going on, and then just for the main event, one of the fighters just dropped because of panic, because of anxiety. Listen, yeah, boxing is very scary. But you signed up for it, but no one forced you to sign that contract. You signed that contract, fulfill it like a man, you know. I'm sure Evil Hero was super scared. I'm sure Fox the Tszyu also felt so much nerves, but they still went in there and got in the ring. So I didn't like that by Most Wanted. I think he probably had flashbacks to his last fight against Joey Knight, where he just got absolutely stunted on, and then he was just like, "Oh, I can't do this again."
Yeah, if I was a fan there, I would have asked for my money back. What the fuck? I go to watch a 2-against-1, and it's a list of the problems. You know, the main event does not deliver, and then it's like the production, the bomb threat,
yeah, they kicked me out of the event, bro.
Out of the event and stuff like that. No.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's boxing, you know. If you gotta have like a strong mentality to even get inside the ring. So you said it. No one forced Most Wanted to even sign a contract. He signed it himself. He knew what he was getting into, you know. And either way, you technically had the advantage. 2v1, man. You had the advantage, and yet you decided to pull out not even a month from the fight, not even a week from the fight, but you decided to pull out 5 minutes before you're supposed to go out.
I don't think I've ever seen that.
That is insane. Yeah.
I've seen that.
A fighter just doesn't fight?
It doesn't fight. It was, man, it's the heavyweight that's signed with Top Rank.
Yeah, I know. Ajagba.
I
know which fight you're talking about.
One of his opponents.
At least that boy got in the ring and then left.
Yeah, but right when the bell rung.
Yeah, but I mean, I would have preferred that, honestly.
It's the same.
It would have been a little more drama show, you know?
Like, what is going on?
Fucking
Most Wanted.
Yeah,
where are you going?
He just gets out the ring and starts walking away.
I've been insane. But yeah, Most Wanted. I mean, listen, these small influencer creators, you know, these small creators, they're all itching to get an opportunity to fight on Misfits, right? And Most Wanted came from that. You know, he's a small creator. He got big on X Spaces, you know, just speaking, talking, and boxing, and growing his brand from there. And, you know, he was, you know, able to get the opportunity to fight on Misfits. And a lot of these other smaller creators want the opportunity. So seeing Most Wanted do what he just did, you know, cower out like that, a lot of these small creators I saw online, they were pissed, man. They were so mad because they were like, yo, how can you be given this opportunity and squander it like that? And people were saying like, yo, like, give me the opportunity. Yeah. You know, I want that because I will not pull out like he did. And I agree with that because, I mean, you're given an opportunity to essentially just change not only your life, but your whole brand, your whole career. And you essentially pull out like that. Like, boxing is a very hard sport. You know, you got to be, you know, hard-minded, have a hard or elite mentality to even get inside the ring. You know, it's all mental at the end of the day. So, I mean, if you're not able to, you know, weather the storm, you know, the mental aspect of the sport, then you're not, you know, I don't expect you to even perform or even, you shouldn't even be in there.
You shouldn't even be there. Just get out of there.
Yeah. Just don't fight. Don't fight. I thought that was a coward move.
Yeah. Cause I mean, he went from fighting on the prelims to the main event. This Mams Taylor gave him an opportunity. He gave him a helping hand, and all Most Wanted had to do was to go in the ring and at least try.
Yeah.
He doesn't even have to win. This is the beauty of the influencer space. They will still give you respect. They will still call you and bring you back on the shows if you show that you got some balls. If you show that, you know what I'm saying, hey, I'm trying at least. I might not be the best, but I'm trying. And Most Wanted just absolutely says no. I'm scared. I'm not going out. Like, bro, what? It was actually an insane excuse to me.
I think you're going to get criticized no matter what you do, whether you do the good thing, whether you do the bad thing, right? And in this case, I think he did the bad thing, but like, especially when you cower it out, like, it's kind of unforgivable. Like, at least in my eyes, like, if you just quit or if you just decide not to go because you were a little nervous, bro, you're a man. I can, like, you know what I'm saying?
Like, you made a contractual obligation or contractual fucking agreement to fight, and then you don't hold it in the last minute, like not even a week before.
And you're the headliner.
You're the headline in 5 minutes before you say,
yeah.
I'm scared.
I bet now he must feel a little bit embarrassed. Like he's just scrolling through Twitter or whatever, and just seeing all the comments.
I feel ashamed of myself for doing that.
He probably feels horrible right now. Obviously, yeah, dude.
Yeah, because Fred, that one kid who he interviewed him after, and he got his thoughts about it. He asked him like, what happened? Why didn't you fight? And then he said it's because he couldn't move, he couldn't breathe. And then Fred was like, because of the nerves? He's like, yeah, because of the nerves. So, and people, I looked at the comments and people were saying, because people tend to sympathize with people like that. They're like, oh, he's sounding very genuine, hope you get better, bro, and this and that. But, I'm sorry that happened, but you're going to fight. Everyone feels nerves, bro. Like, dude, there's no excuse, man. Yeah. You signed that contract. Everyone gets nerves. If you're a fighter, then you go out and fight, bro. Regardless, come on, dude.
Yeah, it's because boxing is a ruthless game. This is the point. It's like we can't bring the emotions into boxing like that, because then it's just like boxing doesn't work. Boxing only works, and it's so attractive because it's such a high tense environment, and then these boxers can fucking show how great they are even in the most pressure situations. So, like, you knew what you were getting yourself into, like, at the end of the day. And now you had an obligation as the main event to go out there and perform, and then you didn't by your own choice. So,
there's such an influencer type of moment, too. Because imagine if, let's say last year, Earl Spence and Crawford, and 5 minutes before the main event, Earl Spence is like, nah, I don't want to fight.
Yeah, it's like, bro, what?
They would have destroyed him, man. Absolutely destroyed.
Like, what are you talking about, bro?
This would never happen. I guess there are some instances of this happening, like in traditional boxing. But in championship elite level boxing, never. You would never see this, never. And, this is such an influencer type of moment because, these guys aren't fighters, They're essentially just influencers who were just getting inside the ring.
People.
Yeah, just regular people essentially who are just fighting. So they don't got the mentality. They're not hardened enough. They're not tough like that. So Most Wanted, in my opinion, very coward move, and I don't sympathize with him at all.
Yeah, and so what's Mams Tayler gonna do with him now? I think the only logical action is to cut him off the roster. That's what I think, because
but you don't sympathize with him, man.
I sympathize with you, but buddy, you're not a boxer. Like
you're a content creator.
Yeah, a boxer's supposed to fight. Like at the end of the day, no matter how nervous he is.
Evil Hero is getting an opportunity again. He said,
"Oh, for real?"
Yeah, ma'am. He said after the fight, he said Mams Tayler told him that he's gonna give him another opportunity because he saved the main event. He was still willing to go out there and fight. So Mams Tayler told him yo, I'm gonna give you another opportunity because you did this for me.
See, that's why influencer boxing is so amazing in this aspect. They can look like shit. Like, people are criticizing Evil Hero because he quit. You know what I'm saying? He was probably very nervous as well. He quit. He could have gotten up, but he's still gonna get another opportunity. Yeah. All you had to do was go in there and try. That's it.
Another fighter that I like from the influencer scene is Chase Damore, and I think it's because of that reason. Like, that guy has no quit, even though he's
not the best.
He's not the best technically and stuff like that, and he doesn't have that body for a boxer, traditional boxer. Given that he's a heavyweight, he still goes out there and tries. Even though some of his past fights have been kind of questionable and stuff like that, not the best, but at least he's tried, and now he's gotten a win. Mm-hmm. I think the same thing. I think if I had a message to some of these influencers, like, everyone gets nervous, bro. Like, even at the elite level. But the thing is that that separates the elite and the average is they're better able to control their emotions and whatnot. So.
Yeah, it's true. So I don't know what's gonna happen with the Most Wanted. I'm guessing that Mams Tayler is very angry at him.
I bet. Yeah, he just ruined. Yeah, he ruined this. That was the cherry on top.
Yeah, it's just a cherry. It's just a nail in the coffin for the event, man. Like, it's just.
What did KSI say?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I don't think he even. I think he just said congrats to Fox, the G, for the win. But I'm sure he was pissed off too. I'm sure everyone was pissed off from the top guys or just the top execs from Misfits about what just happened, because that event was just shambolic.
Yeah,
overall, easily the worst one, the worst Misfits event I think I've ever seen.
I think so. Yeah.
And they typically do a good job with their events, but this one was just bad.
I remember you saying this before. When they have a show here in America, it tends not to do well.
Yeah, because a lot of their audience comes from the UK. A lot of the top influencer fighters, influencer boxing originated from the UK, or it didn't originate, but it got huge in the UK.
Yeah, huh.
So a lot of the fans come from the UK. So, I mean, when they're trying to come do it here in America, they typically tend to do it in smaller arenas, so because they know not many people will show up and buy tickets. And then something always happens, I don't know. Like, this one was just bad.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Yeah. When it comes to doing shows in America, it's a bit difficult for Misfits to even, have a successful show.
Yeah.
But, so that was the Misfits 13 card.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very, in my opinion, very bad.
Mm-hmm.
There was the only big highlight for me was the Joey Knight.
Yeah. I think
The big highlight for me was Joey Knight. But, so that was, and also Vitaly. I don't want to talk about that.
No, I was about to say, don't talk about
I'm not going to talk about that.
He's on T.
He's on T, bro. He's juiced up. But, so that was Misfits 13. Let us know down below what you guys thought about that one. Next up, let's slide over back to the traditional side of boxing. March 30th is coming up. And March 30th is the time or the date for the first ever PBC and Prime Video pay-per-view event featuring headlining by Tszyu, the rising Australian unbeaten star, as he takes on 6'6" Sebastian Fundora. Late minute replacement for him as Keith Thurman suffered a bicep injury. So he's out of the fight, out of the card. But Sebastian Fundora stepped up and is now fighting for 2 belts for this fight. We also have the co-main event, Rolly Romero as he takes on Isaac Cruz, Pitbull, for the WBA 140 super lightweight title. Now, let's talk about first the co-main event. You guys have any thoughts about that fight? Rolly Romero hasn't fought since the Barroso fight. He didn't look very good. He got dropped. Pitbull Cruz last fought against Giovanni Cabrera. Didn't look too good either. And he's moving up to 140. Do you think Pitbull has a big chance of beating Rolly? Or do you think Rolly is on the, he's not the very best? Or you think so? What do you think about this fight?
I think this fight's gonna be the main event. Honestly, I think this fight should be the main event. But I think this is a hard one. A lot of fans are on Cruz's side because they love Pitbull Cruz. But I think Rolly is gonna take this fight. I think he's gonna take it because he's gonna fight kind of how he fought Barroso, just like kind of moving around. If you watch that fight against Barroso, Rolly was fighting completely different than what he usually fights.
Right.
He's fighting on his feet. He was fighting lateral movements, a lot of lateral movements. And I think that's one of the things that Pitbull Cruz cannot... That's one of the styles that Pitbull just looks horrible against. I mean, his last fight against Johnny Cabrera, it's not even that Johnny was like a slick boxer, but it's just he just does some like awkward movements that Pitbull Cruz could not touch him, and he looked absolutely horrendous. It made him look like a one-dimensional fighter. So I think Rolly should just like run around the ring, kind of try to box him, and also he's a much bigger man. Cruz is coming up from 135, where he was already a small fighter. So I think the weight advantage, the height advantage, and just the style of Rolly might be a little too much for Cruz. I don't think it's gonna be a stoppage. Unless Tony Weeks is in there. But if Tony Weeks isn't in there, if there's an actual regular referee in there, then I think this fight should go the distance.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good fight. I like both fighters, especially because Cruz. I knew of Cruz because he was gonna fight Tank, late replacement, 3 week notice. He did a decent job against Tank. And then Rolly, I mean, it's hard not to root for this guy. Rolly, just very charismatic, very funny when he doesn't want to, when he's not even trying. But if I were to put money, I would probably choose Rolly. Yeah, Rolly. Yeah. And I think because of those physical advantages that he has, the weight, the height, and he's just younger as well. And I think at 140, I think he's going to feel a lot more relaxed. He doesn't have to kill himself making 135. He's been fighting at 140 now for the past 2 or 3 fights. I think now his body's definitely adjusted. So I think I'm going to go for him. Yeah.
Well, Rolly's older than Pitbull. Pitbull's 25, bro.
Oh, yeah, huh?
Rolly's 28, bro.
Yeah.
Well, I think Rolly's in the prime of his time.
Rolly is
in the
prime,
prime, essentially. Yeah. Even though it doesn't look like that. Look like Rolly or
that's kind of
Pitbull's
crazy.
a 30-some-year-old man.
Yeah,
This and that. But But for my prediction, people say all the time in our comment section that I sound like Rolly Romero.
Yeah.
And because of that, I will be going for Rolly Romero.
Let's go. Your doppelganger.
Yeah. I'm his doppelganger. I knowing how Rolly fights and being a big fan of him now, yeah, I think he's going to knock him out. It's going to be like second round knockout. He's going to hit him with an uppercut. And then Isaac Cruz is going to eat it up, knock down the canvas, face first, not getting up, 10 count, over.
Dang.
That's what I'm predicting.
Second
Rolly
round
Romero,
KO.
because I'm voting for him. I'm going for him. He's going to get more power. He's going to get, he's going to be enlightened. He's going to be...
The next day, he's just going to wake up with like a fighting spirit, dude.
He's going to be like, yo, I don't know what happened, but
yeah, he's got this energy.
I'm ready.
Yeah.
So because of those reasons, I will be going for Rolly Romero. But in all seriousness, I do think I am picking Rolly over Isaac Cruz, mainly just because of the weight. Even though Rolly Romero is not a very good boxer, in my opinion, he's very unorthodox. And the thing that really does help him is the fact that he hits hard. He's a hard hitter. And Isaac Cruz is the same way. He's a very aggressive. He's kind of like what you expect, something of like a Mexican style. Just go forward, show a lot of heart, and have...
the high guard.
The high guard, heavy-handed. That's exactly what Isaac Cruz is. But I don't know. Maybe the weight will play a factor. He, like you mentioned, he is small already. He was already small at 135. So going up to 140, he'll be a lot smaller. Let's see if the weight does play a factor, because it's 5 pounds of difference. And Rolly Romero, the big guy, he's huge when he's not fighting. And let's see how Isaac Cruz is able to handle the power at 140 and how he's able to settle in. But the thing is, Isaac Cruz has a chance of becoming a world champion at 140, because like I just mentioned, Rolly Romero isn't the best one. He is the weakest champion at 140. So if anything, Isaac Cruz is in a position where he can, he has the biggest opportunity to become a world champion at 140 compared to, if he was fighting Matias, Teofimo, Devin Haney, So this is the big chance for him. And I mean, if I was him, I'd be training very hard and having high hopes that I will become a world champion at 140.
Well, yeah, this is a pretty, I'd say this is a pretty controversial take, because I've seen a lot of people online, they're going for Pitbull Cruz.
Yeah.
And they're saying he's going to win by knockout. They're saying he's going to knock out Rolly. Like, I'm like, I don't know.
Rolly Romero, man. Rolly Romero.
Rolly Romero, he's legendary status, world champion Rolly Romero.
I'm telling you, bro.
Best ever.
Yeah, now that he's a world champion, he, you get a tribute, you get power ups.
Plus 5% in every single attribute.
Yeah, defense, power, footwork,
shit talking. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, everything.
He's powered up, man. World champion Rolly is gonna be a different Rolly, you guys.
We'll see. Hopefully.
We're gonna see this online. They're gonna be like, these motherfuckers don't know boxing.
They don't know shit about
I mean, they're casual.
They'll be like, have you ever been in the boxing ring?
Have you trained? So I guess we're all in agreement that Rolly takes the win over this one. Nice. All right, so that's our prediction for the co-main event. Now the main event, like I mentioned, Tszyu, the soul snatcher, undefeated Australian. I believe that out of the 12 times he's headlined in Australia, he sold out 9 times, I believe. So he's huge in Australia, but now he's for the second time in his career, he's going to be fighting in the U.S. He considers this to be, his actual show-out fight. And, it's supposed to be against Keith Thurman, the former unified welterweight champ. But he's off. Now we got Sebastian Fundora. And honestly, I prefer this fight over Keith Thurman by a landslide. I think this fight is fun in the aspect that, first off, we get an actual 154-pounder in there. Second off, we get a 6'6" monster in there. The Towering Inferno returns. And I want to see how Tszyu, what he does to... chop down the tree, because like I said, Sebastian Fundora is huge, tall. They had the face off earlier this week, and the height difference was there, it's very clear. So I have not money, but my vote would be on Tszyu to still win, to defend his WBO and win the WBC. What about you guys?
Yeah, I mean, I think Fundora has such a unique style, because of the fact that he's 6'6". You know what I'm saying? Like you're never gonna fight a guy like Sebastian Fundora at 154. So it's up to Tszyu. I want to see what Tszyu does to, just to that style, because styles make fights at the end of the day. I think this is actually going to be a pretty competitive fight because Fundora comes there to win. You know, he has a winner's mentality. I know, you know, he got KO'd in one of the KO of the year contenders against Brian Mendoza. Devastating knockout. But if you look at the fight, I think, if I remember correctly, Fundora was winning. Fundora was winning the fight. He's also beaten the likes of
Erickson
Lubin, the Hammer, a super hard power puncher, one of the best guys at 154 as well. I mean, Sebastian Fundora is no pushover. You know what I'm saying? He's a 6'6" guy that comes to fight, very unique style, and it's hard to beat him. So I want to see what Tszyu, I want to see what he's made of. I think this is a better test than Thurman, who hasn't fought in 2 years and who's on the back end of his career, moving up to a new weight class. I don't think that was that good of a fight. I think this fight is much more better. It might not reach that many eyes because I think Fundora is a lesser-known opponent than Keith Thurman. But stylistically and in their boxing career, I think this is a much better person to have on your resume.
For me, in my opinion, I was actually kind of mad. Yeah, you know, it kind of sucks. It makes sense that Thurman is more susceptible to injury. He's older. He hasn't fought in like 2 years and stuff like that. So, and I also wanted to see Tim just knock him out. I was, to be honest, I got tired of Thurman, especially, you know, he comes back. He disappears for like 2 years and then he comes back again. No, I'm kind of tired of Thurman. Thurman had his thing back seven years ago and whatnot. That was like the prime of his career. Now this is an older Thurman and whatnot. Just like Evil Hero saving the main event, Fundora is coming in and stepping in. It's to save the whole show and stuff like that. On paper, I guess just within like maybe not on paper, but just like style wise, I think Tim is gonna struggle a little bit more against a guy who is significantly taller. I don't even know if you can even find sparring partners at that weight. 154 is 6'6",
especially a week before,
like that and stuff like that. So and not only is he 6'6", but he also comes in to bang. He's a tall guy and he likes to fight mid to close range, and he does it pretty well. I would say so. So it's gonna be a good fight. I don't think it's gonna go the distance. Someone's gonna get stopped.
Damn. Who do you think gets stopped?
Fundora's gonna get stopped.
Damn. Yeah, I think so too. I think he's gonna get stopped.
Yeah, Tszyu's the guy who they're trying to build, and I mean the WBO already announced that the winner of Fundora and Tszyu will have, I think, 5 days after the fight to start negotiations with the mandatory at that. At WBO, which would be Terrence Crawford. Wow. And I mean, Tszyu, I know, wants a big fight. He wants a shoot. He himself said he's a throwback fighter. He wants these big fights. He wants to be active. And imagine Tszyu taking on Terrence Crawford at 154 for 2 belts. You know, when they're, you know, it'd be huge. I think it would be one of my favorite fights of the year because I like watching Tszyu. I think he's a very calculated fighter, and I like what he does inside the ring. And I mean, Terrence Crawford is Terrence Crawford, you know, my number 1 pound for pound fighter in the world. So seeing those two fight, especially with Crawford's debut at 154, I think it'd be a great fight. And you know, I'd rather see Tszyu against Terrence Crawford than Sebastian Fundora against Terrence Crawford. But back to this fight, Fundora and Tszyu. I do think Tszyu's going to take the win on this one.
Oh, yeah. Tszyu's the real deal. You know what I'm saying? I think it's going to be competitive for sure because of just the style, like we were just saying. But I'd be surprised if Fundora pulls out the victory. You know, I'm riding on Tszyu getting the stoppage. Yeah.
Well, that was the main event. PBC Prime Video, their first event of the year, March 30th. Is coming close next week, and I can't wait to see it. It should be a very good card because we also got the return of Elijah Garcia. We also got the return of Brian Mendoza. Julio Cesar El Rey Martinez is back as well. Hopefully he doesn't pull out.
Pull out again, yeah.
He's always getting injured or something's always happening with him. We also have the return of Eddie Landy Lara. That man,
that's crazy.
That man rarely shows up.
How old is he?
Lara?
Yeah, dude. I thought he was like 40 by now.
Lara is like... Oh, I was going to say 35. It doesn't even say how old he is on BoxRec.
Sometimes I feel like some of these Cubans be lying about their age sometimes.
Maybe. From Guantanamo Bay. But, yeah, he hasn't fought in 2 years. He last fought against Gary O'Sullivan. Remember him?
Yeah.
O'Sullivan. That dude's always been fighting. But, so we have like a 4... so it's supposedly a 4-card or 4-fight championship card.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So El Rey Martinez is fighting. He starts off the main pay-per-view card for this for PBC, as he takes on Angelino Cordova for the 112 WBC World Flyweight.
Yeah.
Next up, we have, like I said, Erislandy Lara as he takes on Australian-based Michael Zerafa for the WBA World title. You know, and it's Erislandy Lara's title.
Yeah.
And then followed up by the co-main event, which is Rolly Romero against Isaac Cruz.
Who's Elijah Garcia fighting?
Elijah Garcia is fighting a man called Kyrone Davis, 18-3-1. So yeah, so this pay-per-view card is gonna have it's gonna feature two big free fights.
Yeah.
You know, it's gonna be what's his name, Brian Mendoza taking on Serhiy Bohachuk, and Serhiy Bohachuk was supposed to was the one who was originally supposed to fight Sebastian Fundora.
Oh, yeah.
And that was supposed to be the opener for the pay-per-view show, but you know, since this whole mix-up happened,
they switched it.
They switched it. Mendoza's now fighting Bohachuk for free in the free the free aspect, in the free card. So I believe, I'm not sure if that's the opener or not, but then we have Elijah Garcia, you know, the return of him as he takes on Kyrone Davis at middleweight. So, I mean, honestly, I think this card is pretty decent. They also announced some of the undercard for it, or like some of the, what's it called? The
prelims?
Yeah, the prelims. I mean, we have the return also of Kermel Martin.
Kermel Martin.
Kermel Martin, the prodigy.
Oh, yes.
Kermel,
Yes.
I don't know how to pronounce his last name. But yeah, Kermel, he returns again he fights Anthony Cuba, a 7-0-2 fighter in the 6th rounder. So they're trying to move him up now. But so that's the whole card. Honestly, I'm not sure if they've even announced the pay-per-view for it, because the pay-per-view is, I mean, PBC may have not announced it themselves.
Yeah.
But reports came out, or sources came out and reported that it was going to be like $74.99.
Oh, dang.
So like $75 for.
Well, it's like next week.
Yeah, it's next week. I don't know if PBC themselves have even came out with it, but
with the price.
Yeah, the pricing. But I mean, would you pay $75 for this card?
Yeah, especially because you know, Fundora is not even, like, that's what Asel was saying. He's not even a guy who's really well known like that. On paper, it makes sense, like, for Tim and Thurman, because Thurman used to be a world champion, ex-world champion for X amount of time and whatnot. Fundora still hasn't been a world champion, and Tim is a world champion. So, I mean, I feel like a lot of people will definitely be off-put by paying for something like that, a late replacement, paying $60, $75 for something like that. Yeah, I think it's OD, but I mean, right now with how PBC is, I mean, they really need the money. So I'm not really
Damn,
sure.
you making allegations like that?
Supposedly, apparently, you know, the waters aren't still over there. Yeah, there's a lot of fighters who are leaving and signing with different promotions and whatnot.
But yeah, so that's the card. Personally, I'm not sure. I don't know if I would pay, but I'm definitely gonna be watching though. Yeah. Definitely gonna be watching. But yes, let us know down below. Will you guys be watching the first PBC Prime Video card? And who do you guys have? Do you guys think Rolly Romero has enough what it takes to beat Isaac Cruz, to stop him, or just beat him in general? Who do you think wins? You know, Tszyu or Sebastian Fundora? And is Sebastian Fundora a more credible or a tougher opposition than Keith Thurman? Let us know down below. Also, let us know about Misfits 13. You know, what are you guys' thoughts about that? And what are you guys' thoughts about a fighter pulling out 5 minutes before the main event? Come on, like, no one's got it. Yeah, come on. Anyways, let us know down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and don't forget to comment. And also, we are on X, TikTok, and Instagram, so don't forget to follow us on our socials. And lastly, we have a Discord, so make sure to follow us on Discord or join the server as well, as we try to build up a community. But yeah, so this was me, Pablo, and I'm with Rudo and Asa, and this was the Last Round Podcast. Thank you for watching.